our special guest. We've got a helpful 10 things to do for buyers before you buy list, courtesy of Realtor.com. We'll get there in just a little bit, and then we've got a little community spotlight that we will do as well. But before we get to all of that, we're going to get to our market information and our market update. And to help us with that, our special guest today is Cris Pacheco. He is with Cross Country Mortgage. You've heard us talk about him quite a few times on this show. You can get in touch with him, 909-534-0238. The website, funded by Cris, CRIS.com, is his direct website. He speaks Spanish for those who speak Spanish and are looking for loan information there. Definitely works with all kinds of different clients, including some of our own, which has provided us with a lot of great experiences working with Cris, but works with the veteran population, works with others outside of the veteran population on a number of different fronts. So we're going to bring him on in just a second for our market update. So as I teased, I'm joined now by Cris Pacheco, Cross Country Mortgage. Cris, what's going on, bud?
Hey, thanks for having me, Anthony. What an honor, man. I appreciate you always, sharing my information. I'm happy that it's at least, some content that you're able to share on a consistent basis. But thank you for always sharing my stuff, and I'm honored to actually be here live with you, man.
Yeah, it's really a fun thing. And I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you carving time out of your schedule. And it is no problem sharing the information that you give to us. You do some homework for me, man. So I mean, I'm like, hey, you make my job a little easier doing these things. So
Yeah.
it is no problem. So how are things going, first of all, before we dive into all kinds of different stuff? How are things going with you?
So things are solid. Personally, I'm having my biggest production months. Kind of like at Cross Country, and I work with a big name out here, JJ Mazza, as my regional vice president. So a lot of his mentorship has been very solid for me. Focusing personally on more purchase side than refis, because the rates, they're still staying low right now, but they're expected to go higher at some point. And personally, I didn't want to be vulnerable to that. I love working. A lot of loan officers don't like working with the realtors because of the pressure and the communication. But luckily for me, I actually love working with people and building relationships. And I actually kind of like the pressure of performing because the result is so fruitful, with referrals. And, we've been very fortunate to get, a lot of referrals, and we've gotten referrals with our business too, Anthony. So I think things are going solid for me personally. The market is obviously still really hot. There's some pockets that I'm seeing slowing down, some stuff up in like the high desert and Riverside, but I think most of the people that are here watching are probably Orange County. According to your awesome intro video, man, I'm like, I'm trying to live in those places. But obviously Orange County is still super hot. LA County, San Diego County, still super hot. And we're trying to give a competitive edge with our reputation, our name, our fast closings, and really trying to sell the listing agents on how to selling the listing agent the story of the buyer, to get that offer accepted to mitigate as much of the bidding war as possible, because that's a true reality right now in our market.
Yeah, well, we can attest to Cross Country Mortgage's service and your level of service in a transaction specifically I'm thinking of that we had with you recently, and we'll talk more about that. Just before we kind of get into a little bit more of what's going on in the market and your market update that you usually provide for us, I've got a little bit of a red, white, and blue shirt on. You got the American flag behind you there. As I mentioned a couple times in the intro, it's Veterans Day coming up here. You are a veteran. Thank you so much for your service. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your path to the mortgage industry and who you are currently serving now at Cross Country Mortgage.
So I'm gonna keep it as concise as possible because I can go off on
Hey,
tangents,
take your
especially
time, man.
during this platform, man.
No,
Uh,
take your time.
I grew up in the IE from Chino. I grew up in the industry. Dad, before he passed away in 2009, sadly, he was a heavy hitter, top three guy for about a decade in the IE. Market changed. Mom is still in the business, been a loan officer for over 30 years. So I wanted to stay as farther away as possible from this. Kind of was a knucklehead getting out of school. I kind of had all this freedom, since my dad had passed. He was such a disciplinarian. Went through some rough years in college, and ended up. My mom kind of just said, "Hey, I think you got to like figure things out, and it's best if you get a change of scenery." So that's how I ended up in the Orange County. Started getting my life back together. Joined the Marine Corps. Very rude awakening for myself. People always say thank you for your service, and I always say, man, thank you for letting me in because it was like a privilege that I needed. I was a college dropout, ended up finishing my degree while I was in. I was fortunate enough to be very decorated in the Marine Corps, and something just clicked when I was in. And then right after the Marine Corps, I started a digital marketing business when I was in the Marine Corps, and then that started to pick up steam. And then shortly after I got out, I started helping my mom with digital marketing for her business for lending. That got her leads. She started closing, caught the attention of managers, started teaching lunch and learns to realtors. Ended up getting into an office in the city of Whittier at Caldwell Banker Alliance, and I still love them. Work with their agents now, and that transpired to me going further with my mom's company. With it was at the time South Pacific. They're not even around anymore, and going to each branch to teach social media, and that's where I met with my now team leader Toby Love. So my license actually in a branch in Murrieta, but I live in San Juan Capistrano here, and I actually have the regional branch with JJ Mazzo. That's where I actually end up having an office. So I'm fortunate for that. Um, so that Toby hit me with the message. She went over to Cross Country Mortgage. She saw all the great stuff that they were doing, and she popped me with the message like, "Hey, Chris, like I want to get with the branding. I want to do this." I just wanted. I saw how lucrative it could be to generate leads and be in this business. So I wanted to make it fair, and she told me the only way to make it fair is if I got licensed. So like it was weird. Like I didn't even anticipate being a loan out. It was something that I never dreamed about doing, and and my whole intention was just to provide leads for her, and she'll close them and everything. This was right before the pandemic. So like all those plans of like me being her assistant, me being like a student of hers, they came to a harsh halt. And I was just left with like my phone and my computer at home. And I was just like, you know what? I can't just stop to like not do anything. Let me just start making some calls. And I was fortunate enough, and you were one of the ones that gave me an opportunity to work on clients. And I was like, oh, this is what being a loan officer is. Like you're able to help people like get into homes and stuff. And just from doing it, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it, and I went for the low hanging fruit of veterans. Went for the low hanging fruit. I went to USC right after I got out of the Marine Corps in 2018. I graduated from the Masters of Business for Veterans. So tapped into those two networks and my local Orange County network. That's where I met you through Elite OC, just networking, right? And so I fell in love with it. I got hooked once I did a couple of transactions for veterans. So I knew that this was going to be for me. And I saw that there was a huge advantage that I had. I didn't know there was so many flaws in the industry when it came to communication and just overall care for people. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord I was brainwashed with communication for 4 years in the Marine Corps, because that's all I have to do to apply here for people to have a great experience. And I I don't know, man. I fell in love with it, and I've been very fortunate. It's been a lot of long hours, a lot of long days. And fortunately now I'm starting to get to the production, and thanks to you and your family, man, for helping me provide that. Now I'm starting to get some help from the company, like some assistants that are able to help me with some of the administrative stuff that frees up a little bit of my time to do stuff like this. So I hope I can join you sometime in the future again, and do these types of events and collaborations. But I want to start bringing a lot more heat and a lot more value to our local community, whether it's veterans, Trojans, or just overall Orange County. Um, I told you I was going to be concise, and I felt like I wasn't with
That's okay.
that. But that was just a little snapshot. Married, been for 6 years. Bought my first condo in 2017 in San Juan Capistrano. On the other side, I live over here at the Village in San Juan. Now I have a townhome, rent that other property out. So I've had my own small experiences, with real estate investment. So I'm preaching, I guess, the own medicine that I've taken, right, and of helping myself. So I feel like I bring a very authentic, um, uh, I guess, value, a very authentic experience especially to veterans and to active duty people, because I lived through it. I got into the market with a VA home loan, and I started expanding my portfolio, still utilizing VA home loans and getting educated, getting benefits. So it's a little bit of it's a little bit more than they have, and I'm sure the clients we've worked on, Anthony, we've built great relationships with. It's a little, and they'll be the ones to tell you that it's a little bit more than just a loan transaction with us.
Yep.
It's a relationship. But
yeah,
thanks for letting me share, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, that's how we view things too at our brokerage. It's not a transactional type of relationship. It's definitely a long-term relationship, and not just all about business. It's about caring for people. And I've said this on other broadcasts that I've done like these. When I mention your name and your information that you provide, I mean, I can personally attest to the care level that you have shown clients of ours. And one of the deals that always comes into mind is an early one for me. And it's just kind of funny how it worked out. It was someone that I was connected to from my past career. They came to me in my real estate career, and they were a family of veterans, and they were looking for VA loan information, and you took care of them. And kind of like how you spoil me on these broadcasts with the information that you provide, you spoiled me during the transaction with your level of all of that. So you were very communicative through the entire process, and I can't thank you enough. Our brokerage can't thank you enough for that. I know you work with a lot of veterans. You also work with people outside of the veteran population, but just because of it being Veterans Day and the Marine Corps birthday today, right?
Right. This is ask any Marine. This is the actual holiday.
Yeah.
Veterans Day is it comes second to the Marine Corps birthday.
That's right. What are you seeing? I mean, I know it varies from like different areas of Southern California, from different area, right? Orange County has different sets of questions or issues, maybe than the Inland Empire, et cetera. And you do a lot of stuff throughout all of Southern California, right. San Diego, Inland Empire, Orange County, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. What are some of the top kind of issues, or how are you just kind of a resource of information for your veteran clients that come to you and just say, we don't even know anything about this process, we want to get into a home, what do we need to know about VA loans? What are some of the things that you help the veteran population kind of tackle in the process of getting a loan and getting into a home?
So and not just veterans, but also active duty guys. I'm very fortunate to work with our men and women in uniform currently. I would, let me think about that for a second, because there are some issues. I think that one thing that is not taught enough while we're in service is a lot of financial literacy. And I think like I would say that there's a lot of there's people that don't necessarily have the budget. Like you can go zero down to buy a house, but sometimes our veterans or our active duty are a little lighter in fun, so we end up having deeper conversations. This is kind of a little bit of a sensitive topic. We have deep conversations with some of our potential clients, our leads, about like, hey, like, well, how can we help with your, because it comes down to behavior now, like of your finances, of
Yeah.
so we're able to provide that for our clients in our first steps. And I always say, like, hey, if you're going zero down on a house and you don't have enough to pay for the closing costs, like that, I personally feel like there's another layer to uncover with that. And so I have those deep conversations. That's where I've been able to build really deep relationships with people, because my entire goal is for the veteran or the active duty person that after the transaction to be more financially literate, financially fit, what I always say. Because the loan process, because of the guidelines being so as tight as they are now, it kind of forces you to be pretty financially sound. And I feel like that could be a great momentum builder in something that we call wealth accumulation. So I always tell our clients, this is the first step. Buying, probably for 99% of people, it's the biggest asset that they'll have on their books from a net worth perspective. Then we jump into, okay, how do we help your behavior, as far as we go through an exercise we call the monthly survival number, the MSN. Getting with their spouse, or if they're single, getting with themselves, looking at their checking account, seeing what they're spending money on, what
Yeah.
they don't need, right? On a monthly basis. That we go to saving 25,000 is what we say as a reserve, right? In your saving account, emergency fund. Then we go into mutual funds, maxing out your 401k, maxing out the Roths every year. And then we get into what we call, if you use it, you buy it a stock options. So like if you use Amazon, if you use Facebook, and all long-term holds. And our biggest, what we preach is there's no like turnkey solution to becoming wealthy, because any company can grow, any company can flop. Let's risk mitigate and depend on your own services, because it's crazy. I have an app on my phone called the Compound Calculator app, and just through like compound interest, it's pretty crazy, like how much, like even just a few $100s can do over 30 years on a
Yeah.
conservative 7% growth fund. Conservative. And this year's been very, very fortunate for a lot of people who've been saving money in the stock market. But it really comes down to, it's crazy. I always tell people this: you can become a multimillionaire when you're older, right? Just by saying, like, cutting out maybe one or two like outings of dinner like per month, and that could make a significant difference over 30 years. I think that I don't know. I just like to be like more self-reliant, instead of like, we're hit right now with crypto, um
Yeah.
and I'm not hating on crypto. Like I have cryptocurrencies. I'm looking for long-term holds, but I think that there's a big chase, especially on social media, on Instagram, of like what's gonna be the next thing to pop. How do I get in it to become a multi? And like I just feel like that's such a short-term view. Like how can we become better veterans? How can the veteran become a better version of themselves, to be? And I don't know, there's just a lot of parallels. Like even I feel like I even help communication with some of the veterans and their spouses or active duty,
Mm.
because you have to sit down at the table and like measure out your budgets and everything. Like almost forces you to do that. And I mean, they're a big thing, and I'm not trying to give any type of like relationship advice, but a big thing of like why a lot of marriages have fallen apart. Look at the stats. some type of financial problem or some type of cause, I feel like there's some probably even some marriages that could be saved just from being transparent and disciplined with your finances. So, um, sorry for that tangent, Anthony.
No, you're good. You're not just a mortgage professional. You are apparently a form of a financial planner for some of
Yeah,
these.
yeah, oh
Folks.
yeah, and that's the beauty of our platform too, Anthony. Like, I'm not a broker, I'm a direct lender, so the bank pays me, right? This is all free basically. For like, I always say this to the client: hey, you're the CEO of your house. I want to be a board of director on the financial side, and there's other financial resources like wealth managers, Delaware statutory trust managers, um, other people that we can offer for the clients after the transaction, right? And very little of our resources you will be paying out of pocket for. It's more about like opening an account, and like my guy Alex Parsons at USC, former football player, former Oakland Raider. He helps me with my clients and has opened up their mutual and their 401k fund. So we want we I want and we want as a team to we have a genuine what's the right word, we have a genuine pathway, we have a genuine reason to see you financially succeed for our clients. Like, we want to see financial success, and selfishly it helps us because if you're financially successful as a person, you're going to tell your friends and family of who helped you, open your eyes, or at least guided you on the path. I believe in the term iron sharpens iron, Anthony. And if we can at least just be an accountability partner for some people to be financially wealthy, financial success, leave a legacy for their future generations, then that's one of our main purposes.
Well, yeah, I mean that goes a long way with people, most definitely. And you touched on this a little earlier, Chris. Um, and this is just kind of more of a holistic look at the market and some of the things going on there. You said you're not seeing so much refinances or refi requests. It's more kind of new purchase stuff. Are you just kind of equating that to, some of these folks are just looking to get into a bigger home because where the rates are and have been at this point in time, and they just figure that's just a more lucrative pathway other than staying in their current home, and maybe they can get something bigger at a a competitive rate instead of just kind of refinancing their current thing and staying put.
Well, and Fannie and Freddie Mac came out with a number. I can't remember which one it was. They came out with a number that like 80% of the people who could be refinanced are already refinanced. And you were talking about like moving up possibly. So there's different milestones that people just have milestones. They get career changes, they get big bumps in pay. And we see the downgrade too. We see people, I'm sure you've seen people sell their homes and downgrade and cash out on some of that equity from their house. So it depends on the demographic that you're looking at. I personally deal with a lot of first-time home buyers. A quick stat for you from the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, right? Out of all the veterans that have a homeowners, only 18% are actually using their VA home loan.
Wow.
And yeah, and I thought that was crazy too. And I got very integrated with the group, Veterans Association for Real Estate Professionals. So we're helping teach a lot of VA knowledge, VA home loan knowledge to veterans in the local community as well. And so for me, I see a lot of veterans just getting into their first home, which I feel like it's like like almost introducing them to that term we use, net wealth accumulation, like their first step into wealth accumulation. But we also have our veterans, like you were mentioning, that are doing now that you're not seeing a lot of rate and term refis. I'm helping people, and I also help people do this, do rate and term debt consolidation refinances to kind of just give them a fresh start based off of the equity that they already had in their home. If you look at the stats, the amount of people that have credit card debt is insane. It's in the 80% of all population have credit card debt. So we're trying to preach, and if you're watching this and you have some, please look at all your liabilities that you're paying per month, and get with us to see if a rate and term debt consolidation loan could be right for you. I've seen clients just from doing the loan, their what's coming out of their out of pocket every single month has significantly lowered, and more often than not, because the rates are so low, they're still having a low rate, and they're over 30 years amortized mortgage payment. Adding that, it's really not that huge of a dent to their monthly mortgage payments, right? But seeing those fresh starts. So I would say the biggest two that I'm seeing right now, Anthony, are first-time home buyers still,
Hmm.
and Orange County being a very high rent market, and the rent market out here, man. I don't know if you know more about it, but I just got a tip from a friend of mine who was renting here in Aliso Viejo. They had an apartment complex go from 1,900 to 2,800 in a matter of 6 months. What are you seeing as far as the rental side?
A little bit of some similarities there. I've been working with some folks on some rental stuff, and one group decided that they just kind of felt, both financially and just where the rental market was at or was heading, that they were just, hey, we're just going to look at maybe purchasing. So that's kind of where they're transitioning. Another group of clients is looking at things, and you're kind of seeing a little bit of the shades of competitiveness from a buyer's perspective, where multiple applications, and very, very competitive type of atmosphere on some of these things, depending on the area and depending on the price, etc. So I definitely am seeing some similarities kind of to the buying side, even in the rental market.
Yeah, and just quick stat for you: 30 out of the 100 biggest cities in America have increased year to date over 20% in market rents.
Wow.
So it's crazy. Um, and then the other topic that we were talking about as far as refinances, you're going to start seeing a lot more debt consolidation refinances. And I feel like you really need a good financial expert, not just a transaction coordinator, basically, to do this from the loan officer perspective, because now you're really you're really giving advice on, hey, this is what you look like from a household budget. This month, this is how you would look like if you did the cash. Then they don't call it cash out; they call it a rate and term refi debt consolidation. This is how you would look, and with that extra money, what are you doing with that extra money? And that's where the financial expert, the financial consultant comes into play. Are you putting it? Are you putting a little bit towards the to beat the amortization schedule and put it a little bit more in principal every month? Are you putting it in a mutual fund to grow? And so really knowing your stuff, really having the resources for your clients is extremely important. I don't know if you're going to be getting that from a call center at some of the bigger companies to have that. So that's where we're trying to make a big difference and separate ourselves.
Yeah, talking with Cris Pacheco at Cross Country Mortgage. I'm Anthony Cosenza with Casa Realty Group, having an awesome Veterans Day chat with Cris, talking about what's going on in the market, what he's seeing, and how he is helping the veteran population, helping the population at large with a lot of different things going on in the market. Before we get to his nice graphic and have him tell us some things that are going on this week, rates, etc. One question I get a lot, and I guess I'm kind of shooting from the hip here a little bit, Cris. So hopefully I'm not catching you off guard here. But One question I get a lot is about where appraisals are right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of have said, the market frenzy in spring and all of that, it seemed like they were kind of playing catch up a little bit, but now it seems as things have kind of, they haven't plateaued even really or anything, but we're in a slower fall winter market than we were in spring of 21. I guess if you have any kind of gauge on what's going on with appraisals from your side of things, that's something I get asked about quite frequently.
So we're seeing that appraisers are still in very high demand, and unfortunately, like they charge what they charge. And so we are seeing an uptick in some of the fees that they are charging, but that's where it's important to work with a lender that's has his pulse on the market, a realtor that has his pulse on the market, and being able to have those relationships with certain appraisers. And I know there's like some legality behind that, but there's so I have to be very careful, right? Because there's not supposed to be any influence, but in certain markets, we're seeing, like especially in high desert, I'm seeing it in Riverside County too, that the appraisals are starting to level off just a little bit. Um, a big thing with the appraisals is the comps. So and it comes down to sometimes that individual appraiser, right? He might, some will judge and feel like one is worth the other, and they'll stick the price in there. But that's where having a good, like I said, a good loan officer, a good realtor with a contingency plan to be able to contest that for clients can definitely come into play, and save uh, you know sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for our clients. I think that I don't know. I feel like sometimes appraisers could be a little rogue with their methodologies, and I don't know if they have like a little secret society where they're all talking about this right now. But and if you're an appraiser watching this, man, I hope I don't offend you, and I hope you don't see my name come across your desk. But I don't know. I think that I don't feel like a client should have any fear behind it, especially if we're able to do everything above and beyond to try to get to the price that they need to get to before losing any type of before having to come out of pocket, and that's where it's important on the front end to be able to sell the listing agent, to be able to sell and fight for our buyers, that this deal will be absolutely smooth, so that we try to avoid the bidding war. That's where, when it turns into a bidding war, that's where you're seeing that the appraisals are coming in a little bit lower, because they start at the listing price compared to the comps, and you've seen it, Anthony, like, hey, this is a fair price compared to the comps, and you can kind of ballpark the numbers. But sometimes when it's reaching, that thing is going to be coming in lower, and it's up to the buyer if they want to cover the margin. So, but I don't feel like buyer should fear that.
Well, I've taken up a ton of your time, and I don't want to take too much more up, but I would, if you don't mind, if you've got a couple more minutes, Cris, I would like you to walk us through what you usually send over to me, and you are religious about this, and I can't thank you enough for that. And we share this on here. This is your mortgage news and rates graphic that you usually send over to me, talking about what happened last week, what's going on this week in terms of financial activity or things that could affect the economy, affect the mortgage market, that sort of thing. And then, of course, we've got the rates there. So I don't know if you want to walk us through some of this stuff here, talking about what happened last week and whatnot.
And like, I think that you use some other references as well, like to give information. And a lot of my references, I'm a certified mortgage advisor graduate from Barry Habib's course, and Barry Habib is probably the most influential name in the mortgage industry as far as content and keeping us upbeat. So as I put my reference on there from MBS Highway. So this is all information that's on there, but I just try to condense it, for our realtor partners and for our clients, and sharing all this. But as you see, the job market, unemployment going a little bit lower, which is actually a negative thing for rates. So that negatively affects rates, and helps. You'll see the stock side rising where there's more investor confidence in the
Mhm.
stock market. Um, you know, I usually put these appreciations. CoreLogic has their value system of 18%, and that's across the nation. Rent prices up, 0.8, and that's where I got that stat. 35 of 100 largest cities are seeing their rents jump
Yeah.
in 20% since the pandemic. And then, the big topic right now, the Fed is announcing that they're tapering for the next 2 months, to see how the market affects. So the rates haven't skyrocketed right now. And this morning, actually, we had an alert to lock. So I haven't had a chance to look at what's going on this morning, but I'm sure there was some type of announcement that came out that negatively affected the rates. So, that's one thing that that they get with you, Anthony, is up to date for financials and geopolitical stuff that's happening that affects the home buying experience. And it's kind of crazy to think like how much like just that's the headline news can just trickle down to the pricing of somebody purchasing a home. So we like to just keep it as transparent and knowledgeable as possible for the clients, and that's why we provide this. So
Well, it's very helpful. And then we've got some stuff going on this week.
yeah.
It says mortgage bonds are lower today. I assume
Yeah.
that was Monday, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was Monday.
Yeah.
So then, the consumer price index. So once that comes out, if inflation, if it goes higher, it helps the rates. If inflation goes lower, it negatively affects the rates, right? But that comes down the consumer price. That comes down to the overall buyer, like how much you're paying for gas, how much you're paying even for rent, how much you're paying for the loaf of bread in your local grocery store. And then the producer price index. That's the wholesalers, like your supply chain, like how much it's charged, how much is it's costing them to produce their products. And a big topic right now is because of the supply chain issues. Um, Storage is a big cost that is being added, and it trickles down all the way to the consumer. So, from a very I guess grassroots level, from the overall just household, like it's more important right now to budget yourselves and to watch your spending, because you are going to start seeing some stuff trickling up, and inflation's
Yeah.
running red hot right now. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then here's just some of our rates. So this is from Monday. So this from the alert to lock that we got today. This is probably going to be going up a little bit higher, but this is like a general average of what people are paying in their rates for the year. So for that particular week. So
National averages, correct?
national averages, and this is 740 plus credit scores.
Yeah.
So your FICO and the amount of down payment that you're putting down on a house really affects your rate, or how much loan to value, if you're doing a refinance, affects the rate as well.
Well, great stuff as usual. We're gonna get you out of here. I appreciate the massive amount of time you've given us today,
Yeah.
Cris. And we'll put your info up here just one more time before we hop on out of here. But I want to just ask you in closing a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, just if you can maybe give some reflections or any kind of statements on what this week means to you, what today and tomorrow,
Yeah.
being the Marine Corps birthday and Veterans Day, mean to you as a veteran. And again, thank you for your service to the country and the sacrifices that come with that. But just obviously this is a celebratory week, but it's also a week of reflection, and I
Yeah.
just kind of wanted to get yours on this holiday, etc.
I say I hate to like sound like a narcissist or like very selfish about this, but like I, especially today, the Marine Corps birthday, like, and I'm very active with the Marine Corps League. I've been fortunate to be a part of them, and I feel like when, like I was saying earlier, like when people say thank you for your service, like the thing that I think about is like, man, you don't even know how much of a privilege it was to do that. And like in the public's eyes, the civilian eye view is, it's a sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice, but it's also a great privilege. It's a great platform to grow from, and I certainly needed that, and I'm sure that the Marine Corps specifically has been a big platform to succeed off of for many gentlemen. Like I got educated. I met my wife while I was in the Marine Corps. I feel like it financially gave me a good platform to start over on, and it made me a homeowner and everything as well. So I have a personal connection from just my own personal life. Obviously, with the clients we've helped, a lot of them are Marines, so that's been massive. A lot of my realtor partners are Marines as well. And then Veterans Day in general, like just the whole community um, that I've been privileged to be able to serve, from my communities, veteran communities at USC, to my local ones here, even in San Juan Capistrano with our American Legion. I've had a great opportunity to meet a lot of high level veterans, and the other underlying I guess issue, I wouldn't say issue, but just like reality is, a lot of our veterans, they're struggling out here, man. And, that you can go out to Los Angeles and see veteran homeless encampments, and,
Yeah.
and there's guys just struggling out here. I was just on a podcast about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, talking about the suicide problem. So there's despite like all the pedigree and I guess the showmanship of the and the patriotism behind Veterans Day, there's still like a lot of issues that need to be fixed. And I hope that I can personally become an influence, a name, and a leader, along with my other competent associates as well, to be able to promote better wellness within the veteran community, and success. I want, one of my goals is to make veterans accumulate wealth and to be successful with their lives. But it starts with me, trying to lead by example. So that's something that I'm trying to bring to the clients in our community on a daily basis. But I appreciate you letting me share, Anthony. I've been very privileged to be able to work with you and your organization, with Rick and Paula as well. And I couldn't thank you enough for having me on this show. And I hope that whoever was listening could at least grab some value from this. And if you're a veteran that's listening to this, like, don't think that you can just contact me for your home loans. If you just need somebody to talk to, if you're talking about your GI Bill, just your career outlook, you want to find some inspiration. I work with the Veterans Ministry at my church, so I personally believe it starts there from a spirituality standpoint. Before we start talking about buying a massive asset for yourself.
Right.
So um, I'm sure my phone number and everything is accessible here. And I love to talk to anybody that's out here looking, just for someone to talk to, or just have another, like I said, iron sharpens iron, just another person to add to your network, man. But I appreciate you, Anthony. This has been fun, man. I can't believe this much time has already gone
I
by.
know. I feel bad taking up this much time
Yeah.
for it, man. I
No,
know
and it's when you're having fun
there you go.
that it doesn't feel like it's like a long time. But thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Chris. And again, here is his information. 909 534-0238 is the phone number. I don't see on your, this is your website here. I am fundedbychris.com. And I think your email address, if I can just remember it offhand, it's cristobal.pacheco at myccmortgage. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
So cristobal.pacheco at myccmortgage.com is the direct email address. Chris, we have worked together on deals with him, and he takes great care of our clients. Chris, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Thanks for your time on here today, man. We've got a little bit more to get to, but this has been most definitely the meat of what we wanted to get to today, and I can't thank you enough for your time.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you to anybody who's watching. And yeah, like I said, please reach out if you have anything.
Very cool. Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Take it easy. That is Cris Pacheco with Cross Country Mortgage. We've referenced him so many times when we've done these shows, and it has been an excellent chat, giving us all kinds of insight, not only on what's going on with the market, but things that he does for the veteran population, things that he does for others outside of the veterans population as well, and service members, etc. So we can't thank him enough for that great interview and that great piece of information. Hopefully we'll have him on again sometime soon. And hopefully, if he is still listening, Cris, we'll be working together on some things coming up both at the end of this year and into next year for sure. Let's keep rolling with a little bit more of just a little bit more on the market update. We did our own homework through the MLS, and we'll get you that in just a second here. So we've got that for you, and then we've got an interesting Realtor.com article that I feel that resonates with a lot of things that we preach to our clients. And actually, oddly enough, it points to why you need professionals, whether it's a loan professional like Cris, whether it's a real estate professional from one of us at Casa Realty Group, because we get to take care of a lot of these steps for you. But we'll get to do that in just a second. And then we've got a community corner and highlighting some things that we are doing as an organization for Veterans Day. So let's talk about some things in the MLS. Now, this is actually from yesterday afternoon, so the numbers may be slightly tweaked than what you're seeing, but I mean, overall, this is going to give you the idea as to what's happening in the market. Here is our usual Orange County MLS update that we do here. You can see here the coming soon as of yesterday afternoon, 155, 87 of those going from 11:10, which is today, through the 14th, which is through the weekend there. Active 1,762 from 11/1 to 11/9, and then active under contract or pending 3,041, 631 of those since November 1st. Closed 697 of those since November 1st. So there are homes out there. There are a number of different options out there. The market is slowing. Inventory is lowering with the fall winter markets that are coming here. But this is some pieces of data that we pulled as of yesterday afternoon, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a reference point as to what has been going on, what is happening. Probably a few more closed here. That number, probably 697, has dropped up, maybe even a few more on the active under contract and pending. But you see what's kind of going on here in the Orange County real estate market per the MLS. So, again, if you are on the buying side, there are opportunities out there. And the coming soon, I always preface it with the coming soon. Not every agent right now or seller really prefers the coming soon designation on their listing. So that is something that, needs to be noted, that there might actually be more of those coming soon than are actually noted in the MLS. But regardless, you get the idea. That is some of the homework that we had done in the MLS. Here is the article I mentioned earlier before we get to the community updates and get out of here. It's been a long episode, but a great one, thanks to an interview with Cris Pacheco at Cross Country Mortgage. A lot of valuable insight and information from him. Let's get to this Realtor.com article that I've been talking about. This is titled, "Found the One, 10 Things to Do Before Making an Offer on a House." And we usually kind of talk about this with our buyers anyway, but look, some of this stuff is done from your real estate professional and in conjunction with folks in the mortgage industry and folks in the title insurance industry as well. You see here, number one, hunt down the home's history. When you see that, I mean, that kind of thing, and you can see here, you and your real estate agent should do a bit of sleuthing to find out the history of the property, how long has it been on the market, etc. That kind of stuff is information that we pull for our clients in the MLS, and we usually give that on the front end, depending on what kind of information specifically on it, ranging from how long it's been on the market to HOA numbers and all kinds of different things. We can pull a lot of that data from you. And there are also some pieces of information in the title insurance chain as you go down the process of looking at a home, putting an offer in. offer accepted, you can get some information, some more in-depth information on the history of the home, if there are liens on it, etc., through the title insurance process. You can see here, fish around about finances. So again, that information should be obtainable through your real estate agent and through the MLS. So you can find that again. That all kinds of tax records. You can see here, you and your agent can check tax records, etc. Pro permits. Again, these are the kinds of things that are a little more in depth that a real estate professional can do for you. Measure the market, look at comps, etc. Again, these are pieces of information as a buyer that you should lean on a real estate professional for to help you get the clearest picture possible on a home that you are looking to potentially buy. You can see here a few more. Investigate the housing inventory. We, on this show alone, keep you updated on what's going on in the inventory, so that should tell you a little bit, but you can even dive in further, obviously, in what's going on in that specific neighborhood, that community, the surrounding communities, etc. Take a look at taxes, find out about fees. Again, I mentioned the HOA dues. All of this stuff is findable through your real estate agent. You are welcome to do your own homework if you would like, but when you hire a professional to help you in the home purchase or home selling process, these are the types of things that we supply you and equip you with in terms of information. Home insurance, that is something you can do on your own. A real estate professional can help you with that. A lot of times also the folks in the mortgage industry help out a lot of folks on that front too. But there are, if you have car insurance and whatnot, which you should have car insurance, obviously, you can sometimes, depending on the broker there, you can sometimes package that, a homeowner's insurance policy with your car insurance and all that for some sort of, discount package. So that's all stuff that you can search around for and get some help from professionals as well. Cost of utilities, that's a biggie because, sometimes folks budget for a home and they go, okay, well, this is going to be the house payment and the HOA. We've got all that stuff. You kind of only budget for, the big picture items to move into a specific house, but you also have to keep into account power, water, gas, all that kind of stuff, other ancillary fees. And it goes back to what Cris is talking about in terms of your loan professional and even maybe your real estate professional as well, being a little bit of playing the role of a financial planner. Of course, there are many wonderful financial planners that do all of that and specifically that for a living. We have a number that we trust as a brokerage as well, and we can point you to them too. But budgeting is key, especially if you are looking to make your first home purchase or if you are looking to move up in terms of a larger home, a larger house payment, etc. That is, some of the things. But beyond the finances, you may want to get a good idea of what your life will be living in a particular home. Obviously, getting a read on a neighborhood, even not so much. I mean, they talk about crime in the area and all that kind of stuff. Schools, obviously, but also amenities in a neighborhood, right? I mean, if you look at pools, spas, playgrounds in the area, in places for Southern Orange County, if you're looking at Ladera Ranch or Rancho Mission Viejo, all the different amenities that those communities offer and what they can provide a family that way. So those are all things that can be talked about for folks there and should be talked about there. So again, a very valuable article from realtor.com, and a lot of which we preach to our clients anyway, but they put it in a nice succinct bullet pointed list for us. So we decided to share that there, and hopefully that is valuable information for all of you. We're going to transition now. We've got a lot still to get to. Well, a little bit to get to. On the community front, we've got a special video. We've got a community event that we're going to highlight and get you all that for this Veterans Day week, this special Veterans Day week here. So without further ado, let's get to the community spotlight as we usually do on these as well. So with fall, we highlighted some really interesting like pumpkin patches and things for families to do, whether it was at the Orange County Fairgrounds, whether it was at Pumpkin City in Laguna Hills, and I believe the other was all the way up in Anaheim, their other location there. But We're going to go outside of Orange County for this one because we do cover a lot of things going on in Southern California. We had our friend Chris, who does a lot of different things in the Inland Empire, San Diego County, etc. This is a little ways away. I believe it's in Paris, California. So it is in the Inland Empire, but it is something that actually my family is going to be doing this weekend. It is something that will be coming up and as we transition to the Christmas holiday, etc. It's turning into that. It's not quite here yet, the Polar Express train ride, but it will be coming up, I believe, in November right now for the kiddos. I think it's like a Thomas the Train thing going on here, but you can see here throughout late November, 24, 25, 27, and 28, and then basically all of December, the Polar Express is it's a train ride that can be taken at the Southern California Railway Museum in Paris, California. You have to buy tickets for it and whatnot, and obviously book your reservations, particularly with some of the COVID stuff still out there. You gotta book this in advance and stuff, but should be a very cool thing for the family. Obviously, very, very neat for the kids. And I have not been here before, but I've heard amazing things about all the things that they do. There are obviously trains on site for folks to check out and all that kind of stuff. So if you are a train buff, if you have kids that are really into trains, if they like Thomas the Train, which is currently going on, if they like the Polar Express, and you really want to get folks into the spirit of Christmas, you got to go check out the Southern California Railway Museum at SoCalRailway.org, and you can find all the events, all the different things. There's they've got collections here. I'll click on that to see what's there. But they do restoration projects, as you can see here, and there'll be some pictures coming up. They've got older trains, the old Los Angeles transit lines, all kinds of different stuff that's really neat for folks. So again, you got to buy. We've talked about the Marconi Auto Museum. We've talked about the Lion Air Museum here. So we've done cars, we've done planes, and now we're doing trains, right? The old the planes, trains, and automobiles. The old '80s movie with Steve Martin and John Candy. There you go. Southern California Railway Museum, SoCalRailway.org is the website. Go check out what they've got going on. They've got some cool stuff happening as the holidays continue to commence, and get you in the spirit. Get you in the spirit for sure. As we mentioned and talked about probably about a week or so ago, we have embarked on, and now we want to reiterate this because it is Veterans Day week. We have embarked on a charitable partnership with we're just kicking this thing off, so we're going to be raising some money here for the Gary Sinise Foundation. And some of the things that they do are really, really excellent things for veterans. You heard Chris when he was talking earlier that veterans need some help in a lot of different regards, especially sometimes folks that are transitioning from service to civilian life. They kind of need to be equipped with a lot of different information and a lot of different resources to ensure that they've got the highest possible ceiling as they come out of the military in a lot of different aspects of life. You talked, Chris, you talked about financial literacy and things of that nature as folks come out of service life. But there are a lot of other issues as well, ranging from mild to severe. And the Gary Sinise Foundation does a lot of it, of course, spearheaded by the famous actor Gary Sinise, who was in Forrest Gump, and I think one of the CSI shows, among many other things. He has done immense work for veterans, ranging from, the emotional, psychological support side of things, all the way to, folks who are wounded in action and they need their homes to be retrofit to fit their lifestyle needs. They do all of that. And the proceeds that we are going to be raising go to a myriad of resources that they provide. And that's something that we are very proud of here. So you can go to donate.GarySiniseFoundation.org/Casa Realty, and it should take you to our page there. We have a partnership with them, but you can also go to our our Instagram and our Facebook page. They're linked there. You can find it. Go there, please. If you have a little bit of extra money and or a soft spot to help out veterans, service members, first responders, their families. Please, please, please think about donating as Veterans Day is now upon us. The Marine Corps birthday is now upon us. We feel that this is very appropriate and something, hopefully, as the holidays are coming up, that will help a lot of folks. But we need your help. So please, please, please help us out there. Again, Anthony Cosenza with Casa Realty Group. Can't thank Cris Pacheco at Cross Country Mortgage enough for joining us, giving us all kinds of great information on what's going on in the market, as well as, just kind of his background, what he's doing to help veterans, etc. And we cannot thank our service members enough, first responders, all of you. We cannot thank you enough for your service, past, present, or future. We thank you. A happy Veterans Day coming up here for you. Happy birthday to the Marine Corps from us at Casa Realty Group. And of course, you can go to CasaBellRealtyGroup.com for all of your real estate needs and information. We want to be your resource of information for you. We're going to leave you. We talked about what we're doing with the Gary Sinise Foundation. They have since launched a separate little entity within the organization called Avalon, within the Gary Sinise Foundation. And this, we want to play this video as we get out of here and close. It's been a long episode, a great one, but we want to give you this and show you this because this is where some of those funds, as we ask for your fundraising efforts, this is where some of these funds will go, and where some of these veterans need help, and where your donations will be going. So thank you, everybody. Happy Veterans Day coming up. We will talk to you soon. We'll continue to give you all kinds of different things on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram page, on our Facebook page. You got to like those and follow those. And of course, you got to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all kinds of different information. But thank you very much. Happy Veterans Day. Check out this clip from Gary Sinise Foundation to let you know what's going to be with the people that are going to be benefiting from donations that we are trying to raise. And have a great rest of the week. We'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Gary Sinise. Since the terrorist attacks on our country on September 11, 2001, 3 million servicemen and women have deployed to war zones. Nearly 1 out of every 3 of those deployed are dealing with traumatic brain injuries and post-traumatic stress. Add to that an estimated 30% of our nation's first responders who also experience depression and post-traumatic stress, and the number grows dramatically. This epidemic of invisible wounds has taken a tremendous toll on our nation's heroes. Though dubbed invisible wounds, the changes in psychological health that accompany these conditions have very visible manifestations like depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, which affect not only the veterans and first responders themselves, but their families as well. And unlike physical wounds, invisible wounds can be passed from one generation to the next. Sadly and tragically, these invisible wounds too often can lead to suicide. So today, I'm proud to announce the launch of the Gary Sinise Foundation Avalon Network, a new initiative that is part of our Relief and Resiliency Program. This cognitive and mental health network will further expand our services to veterans and first responders struggling with post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, and substance abuse. By leveraging the science of post-traumatic growth, a framework that explains the positive transformation that can occur following trauma, the Gary Sinise Foundation Avalon Network will empower veterans and first responders to cope with and overcome trauma, and in doing so, transform lives. That's why I'm excited to introduce what I believe will soon become a leading nationwide integrative TBI and PTS treatment network for veterans, first responders, and their families. The Gary Sinise Foundation Avalon Network. To learn more about this essential work and how you can support it, please visit GarySiniseFoundation.org. Thank you.